This was from skipping today. From skipping.
Jumping rope.
You've hurt yourself. This is why 40-year-olds shouldn't skip.
This is why if you're going to do any kind of, like, not even strenuous physical activity, you need to warm up. You need to stretch.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do.
I'm at that age.
You're at that age. You just can't run out with your mates onto the... No.
Give me 5 minutes, kids.
And they're doing your lunges and your lycra. God, one of your testicles just pops out.
Where have you been?
Jeez, put the mouse in the house, would you?
Aging.
Oh.
It's not for the faint-hearted.
We all do it though.
Yes.
We all do it.
Laugh at me now, young people. It'll happen to you too.
Yeah. To be fair, I agree. Most of my audience is a more mature type.
Mine, I think the two biggest age groups are the one directly below me and my age group.
I get a few 50 pluses.
I get a couple of 65 pluses as well.
You're like basically an anti-incontinence ad. That's what I've heard for your channel. It's just old dudes pissing themselves at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gazza and his mates.
Basically.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Borrow Gazza.
I hurt myself jumping rope.
You did hurt yourself jumping rope.
My
And we
wife-
could talk about that all day.
My wife told the kids I can't do it. And then to show off that I could do it.
So no, okay, just set the scene.
So my kids were skipping rope out in the
Yes.
front yard. And my wife also joined them.
All right.
I was cleaning the car windows.
She's a spry Asian woman.
She is.
Yeah.
She can jump rope with the best of them, but
Yeah.
she told the kids that I couldn't do it, and I couldn't let my kids.
That hurt you. They hurt your pride.
That hurt my pride, so I grabbed the skipping rope,
I love a little
and
sound effect.
I was doing the jump rope. They had the whole. My wife
Dude,
couldn't.
by the way, you look like you're.
My wife couldn't get the noise going. I was
you
getting
look,
the.
You look like you're jacking off two elderly men.
Well, that's how you skip rope.
Oh, yeah, they do. And you would, and the big crisscross.
And then I did the crisscross to show off, and I freaking pulled something.
Yeah.
I was disabled for the rest of the day. I just couldn't turn my head.
Yeah. Do you remember the band Crisscross?
No.
Mac Daddy make you jump. Crisscross will
okay.
make you jump.
Okay, I know that song.
Daddy Mac will make you jump.
Nice.
Yeah.
Demonetized. YouTube copyright claim for lyrics infringement.
Lyrics infringement from Crisscross's Jump.
you
Big hit
go.
from the early 90s.
Go listen to it if you've
Yeah,
never heard of it.
what
It's a
they
great
were-
song. It's catchy.
It is a hell of a song.
Very catchy.
What they were famous for was obviously that song. They were very young. They would have been in their early teens. They were basically a tween hip hop act.
Wow, is that right?
And they used to wear all their jumpsuits. Not jumpsuits, that's the wrong word. Like their Adidas sports outfits,
Okay.
basically. Track pants and
Yeah.
top and stuff.
Matching?
Yeah, matching, but worn backwards.
Oh.
They used to wear their clothes backwards and then walk down the street.
Trendsetters.
Yeah, very odd. Very odd. But hey.
This is a rugby podcast.
But we could just talk about early 90s hip hop.
And getting old and hurting ourselves.
LL Cool J, Nas, Coolio. I'm more of an early 80s hip hop fan.
Early
You don't
80s?
strike me as a hip hop fan.
I'll listen to anything.
I like Tribe Called Quest, Public Enemy, bands like
yep.
that. Yeah, but I like a lot of. I actually love music, so I'd be happy to turn this into a music podcast.
Every now and again, I'll hear a song playing in like the supermarket.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I used to listen to that. And then I'll Google it, and it's like not a 30-year-old song. It's at least a 20, 25-year-old song. I'm like,
Yeah.
that feels like it was only yesterday. It's
Well,
another one of
yeah,
those
like-
signs of aging.
Nirvana's Nevermind came out. When did that come out? 1993.
Goodness gracious me.
That's a long time
I was in
ago.
primary school.
Yeah. And my brother got me into it. He was like, "You got to listen to this." And then I heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and I got
And you were hooked.
I got a Kalen Doris immediately.
I had Nevermind on cassette tape.
Yeah.
I had Unplugged New York on CD.
Oh wow, that was your first CD.
That and Pearl Jam's, what was the black one?
Was that
Had-
Versus?
Black CD
Did it have a
case
dog
with
on it?
gold writing.
Vitology.
Vitology, that's the one.
Yeah, that's
I
the
had
one.
that on CD.
Cracking band, Pearl
Yes,
Jam.
Pearl Jam.
Had such
Had some
they had that-
Silverchair. I had Frog Stomp.
Frog Stomp's much better than their latest stuff.
Yeah, their other stuff was rubbish. Frog Stomp was.
Frog Stomp's
and
a
I
good-
had Dookie by Green Day. Those were the first four
that's-
CDs.
they're
Do you
very
remember
good.
those catalogs where you could order like
You did it off that.
you get one CD, you get 4 CDs for like the price of one, but then you're hooked in to buy like a CD every month or whatever for the next 6
Yeah,
months or
well,
no,
you got one of
2
them.
years. Yeah, I got one of them.
Wow. So on, I know the few hits of Dookie Basket Case when I come around.
Yeah.
I sit around and watch a phone,
Yep.
but nothing's on. But what about so Silverchair? All these only song I can think of Frog Stomp. I think I know other ones is Tomorrow.
Yeah, that was the big one.
wait till tomorrow.
They were also very young, like teenagers when they made that album.
Yeah. What's it? Yeah,
All the
and
girls
that's
in my
such-
class loved those, like
Yeah, he was
those
like a
band
more-
members.
he was
The
like-
main guy,
Yeah, I forgot
whatever his name was, Alex.
He's more hardcore.
Don't know what his name is.
More hardcore Hanson.
Australians.
But then, yeah, they are Australians. And then Pearl Jam. That's another. It's got Nothing Man, Better Man.
It's not a bad. Like if I'm picking first 4 like
the
CDs
Black
to own,
Wheel.
not too bad.
Look, I got to be honest. I think one of the first albums I owned was in like Form 1 or 2. I bought Spice by the Spice Girls. I was right in that sort of sweet spot to be
Yep.
right in it for like some serious teeny bopper. What they used to call us back in the day.
Who was your favorite Spice Girl?
Um,
Everyone had a favorite
bit of-
Spice Girl.
I think Posh was one.
Okay.
That was the one everyone was rubbing ones out to, wasn't it?
Mine was Baby.
Baby.
Yeah, I don't know why. Not
rubbed-
really that into blondes, but I was all Baby.
You were all Baby. Rubbed one out to Baby.
To Baby Spice.
Yeah, I think they all kind of fit when they first like popped onto the scene.
You couldn't really go wrong.
Yeah,
This
but-
is a rugby podcast.
It's a rugby podcast.
Cut all this out, Tony.
You can tell
when you do the
You
edit.
can tell it was a quiet week in rugby. That we could. I actually could talk about music for a long time.
Yeah, but you
Anyone
could.
wants to hear me?
Tony
make-
plays guitar in his spare time, just
Yeah.
casually.
Yeah.
In my spare time, I took video around China.
Wait.
I was going to plug myself right here at the
We
start.
gotta give some content before you give the plug. We're giving
Oh,
them
sorry.
They've gone. Okay, they're gonna talk about rugby. I want to hear how my team's gone, and we've just literally talked
That
about.
latest video I did where I walked around the church and talked to those 2 local people, it's got more views on my channel with 400 subscribers than any of my Super Rugby videos.
That's
It's insane.
that's great and also depressing.
Yeah, it's a bit sad.
Yeah. It's a great video.
Check it out. I'll put a link. I'll put a card.
There's a card right there.
I went around and looked at a church
put-
and talked to some locals.
You know, you can't put 2 cards of the same content in a video.
That's rubbish.
Yeah, because I tried to do it for you last week. I put a card for that video, and then at the end, I just had to put a card for your first video about the bunkers.
Bunkers. The bunkers one's not as good. I was
okay.
jet lagged.
I liked it.
It was alright.
It's all right. It's weird seeing you without a hat and without a rugby jersey
And
on.
talking Chinese to people.
Yeah, that's also a little strange.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen you talk Chinese to your wife.
that's true. She's
Yeah.
a person as well.
She is also. I was impressed with that. I was like, look at that.
She's not a Cylon.
She's not inflatable. That's what I was impressed by. I was like dollars to donuts. I was telling Lydia, I was like, okay, he's gonna bring an inflatable one around. Let's all act like it's normal. Yeah.
Spotify is where you can listen to the rest of this podcast.
Dude, I'll tell you what. If you've
Radio.
listened this far, that's great. But in the edit, I'll say skip to this point. This is when they
If
actually
you
start
still
talking
go
about
rugby.
rugby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts.
Yeah, Spotify, Stitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
I have
Super Rugby on at the weekend.
you know
It was
what?
the final regular season round.
It felt like a real farewell round to some of our favorite cast members.
There
That's
were a
what they
lot
felt
of
like.
senior players who were playing their last home game. Michael Hooper, Dane Coles, these
Aaron Smith.
Aaron Smith. these legends.
Aaron Smith wasn't his home game, but
Potential final game for the Highlanders at the time.
yeah,
you weren't sure.
And also last game ever at Eden Park. There's no games
That's
at
right.
Eden Park, so
That's right.
He smacked the soil and
Yeah.
said goodbye to it.
Yeah. So, before World Cup, it was some kind of pre-goodbye goodbyes.
Which was nice. It was nice, and it was great to see Dane Coles win out the way he came in.
Yeah, that's right.
A mouthy grub. And I loved it. I loved the thing between him and Cody Taylor.
That was fantastic.
That was fantastic. It was just that sold the game and sold the competition better than any promo package anybody
Will
has
they
put together.
play that up? You better believe they will not.
Yeah, but they should.
They should. It was
They
great.
should. So explain to the viewers what
Oh,
actually
well,
happened.
well,
Well, that's not quite on the list.
We'll get to that.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to start about the crucial games to make the top 8? Do you want to start about the big upsets of the week? Do you want to start?
Let's just go through game by game.
Oh, whoa, we're going traditional
Super
today.
Rugby, that's what I do. The first game, I believe, of the round was the Blues hosting the Highlanders at Eden Park on Friday night.
Oh, yes, that was.
It was, like you said, it was Aaron Smith's potential last game for the Highlanders,
Yep.
depending on the result, because at that point, they were sitting in 8th.
Yeah.
So they needed a win to kind of secure their spot,
They
but away
had
to the
their-
Blues where their record against New Zealand team is pretty poor.
And they had their own. They had, like a lot of teams this week, they had their
Fate
fate
in their own hands.
Fate in their own hands. They
Absolutely.
win it, they're still in it. And to be fair, when the Blues came out, I was like, they are looking sharp today. They were putting some things together. I really liked the cohesion and speed of the back line. Their forwards seemed like they were ready for the task. But it all just kind of turned a bit of a mushy mess by the end of it.
Yeah.
It just the second
They
half.
defended like demons, the Highlanders.
Yeah, the second.
We should have
that's
scored.
true.
We should have scored
We
more
went
tries.
over a number of times.
Yeah,
we?
that's right. Disallowed a couple of times and just defensively like turned over. One time we had their scrum under pressure. We called for another scrum and then they won a penalty at scrum time to kind of get out of jail. So
I thought Tom Robinson was looking pretty well.
my dad doesn't like him.
Yeah, well, your dad had some bad takes, doesn't he?
He reckons he loves himself.
Because he's just got a bit of a personality.
He's got a bit of a flair about him. He's
a
like
boomer, your dad, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is a boomer.
He's the reason they don't maybe play up more of the personalities of players because he's one of those guys like I don't want to know about this.
Yeah.
Just say like they played a good game and
it.
credit to the boys.
Like he doesn't
Just
want.
stick to the script.
Yeah. And anything outside that is.
He
Well,
loves
what he
himself.
called me. Well, he must think I just jacked myself off 23 hours a day.
That Tony.
What do you call me? Unusual. Takes one to know one, Gazza. I like it.
But
I like it.
Final score of that one was 16 points to 9.
Yeah.
So the Highlanders
Turned into a real snore fest that second half.
Yeah, it was no scoring was really happening.
No.
The Highlanders did walk away with a losing bonus point, and
Which gave them the
little bit more of
tiniest
us
outside chance.
Yeah. Depending on how other results went, so they finished.
So what did they
in
need?
eighth.
What did they need for it to go their way?
Well, they needed the
Drua.
Drua to lose.
Yes.
Basically, that was
And
a
then
game
if the
that was
Drua
played on
lost,
Saturday.
they needed the Force to lose.
They needed the Force to lose as well,
Yeah,
so I think they also needed the Rebels to lose. So they needed it. But I mean, the Rebels were away and the Chiefs were playing the Force, so there were a couple of tough opponents. So it was really the Drua game that was the big.
They had about a 25% chance of it happening, I reckon.
Yeah, it could have happened.
Yeah, it could have happened. But so they would have.
I mean, they were within a score of keeping their fate, in their own
If
hands.
they got a
but
draw, would have they?
I think that would have.
Have we? I don't think we've had a draw this year, have we? Isn't there meant to be some sort of golden point thing?
Yeah, they do go to Golden Point. Yeah,
We haven't. I haven't seen a single golden point.
No, I don't think we've had a couple of 1-pointers.
Yeah.
But the Blues got the job done. We weren't exactly convincing. You're not looking at the Blues and going, they're going to win Super
It
Rugby.
was very exciting for everybody around here because old RTS got on the field. Because someone had an injury.
That's
Was
right.
it Bryce Heem? Had an
Yeah,
injury?
Bryce Heem was in the stands for that one. I think it was his mum.
What do you think about this? There's a little bit of sneaky chat about Bryce Heem getting a little bit of a call up. Because
despite
he's
the
just
fact
quality. He's old, isn't he?
he's at the wrong end of the kind of age scale, but form-wise, he's been playing the house down for a couple of years now. I mean, he made that All Blacks 15, I think, that toured Europe last year. So
Just remind me, I've got a big inside tip on what's happening with my man Shooter Stevenson.
okay,
Shoot him again.
we'll get to the Chiefs.
Yeah,
Sure,
right.
I'll write a little note here. Look, shooter.
We do generally dedicate at least 15 minutes of
It's
the
a shooter.
podcast to the
You
shooter.
like watching a shooter.
I do like
He's one of
watching
your
shooter.
favourites. But the Highlanders go out of that game, despite the fact they lost, they're still in the playoffs, depending on how the results go their way. The next game was the Brumbies against the Rebels. Did you watch any of that one?
I feel like I did.
Yes.
I did.
I watched the first half, and then I think I went to bed because I had something on the next day.
Brumbies won it.
The Brumbies did win, and relatively convincingly,
And it was
33-17.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm finding it's actually quite hard to remember these games because it's been a long weekend. Feels like it was a long time ago, even though we're recording this podcast at the exact same time we would usually record it. Because I made an effort. I was like, last week, Tony, you didn't watch a lot. Watch these. But I feel like there were a few naff kind of affairs. Nothing really grabbed you, apart from the one game that we probably talk about a little bit later with the Canes and the Chiefs. But yeah, it was another game where the Rebels had it all to play for.
And then couldn't get it done.
Just
It was always going to be an uphill battle going to Canberra.
Yeah.
As the Rebels, who I think was sitting in 11th spot out of 12 teams.
Yeah.
And are still in with a chance to make the knockout stages. That probably brings us again back to that ugly point of like, you get a playoff spot, and you get a playoff spot, you get a playoff spot.
yeah, if
Which
you've got such a
Super
poor record,
You're
And
you're
even-
literally the second to last team.
and even when your team is like when your season's on the line, you're everything to play for. You're playing teams that are resting a bunch of their players, and you're still getting convincingly beaten with everything to play for when you're at. Were they at
No,
home?
they were away.
Okay, well, that's something. real that fortress Canberra. So you think they should be able to get up for it? You know,
That was the game to do it.
nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
And it just looked like round 4. You know,
The
nothing
Rebels a few
special.
times this season, I've been looking at it going, oh, maybe. And then just like, oh, no.
Well, the Rebels played the Force last week, and they looked
They looked the business.
very
That's
tidy.
right. But that's
then,
the
then
thing.
they have a great ding-dong battle with the Reds where they went up like 13.
They've had a few games like that. I mean, they've got some good players.
Yeah.
They've got Carter Gordon running the show at
I
10,
like
and he's looked one of the best 10s
like
in the competition.
Yoni.
Monty Ioane.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he looks good.
Is he related to Digby?
I think they're cousins.
Is that you just being a little...
Bit racist. Apologies, folks. I think they are. I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah.
I think I've heard that somewhere.
I thought for a moment there when I called your wife a spry Asian, I was like, is that racist? But she is a spry Asian.
She is from Asia.
Was she describe
You know
her
what
as
was
spry?
funny when we were back in China?
Do you describe her as spry, firstly?
I've never described her as spry. And when we were back in China, everyone was calling her like the fat one because everyone over there is really skinny.
Yeah.
And she comes back here, she's like, whew, I feel better.
And she's not fat at all.
She's not really fat.
No, not in the
by
slightest.
Chinese standards,
Well-
she's packing on the kilos.
Well, 'cause, yeah,
She's had 2 children.
but they say it's similar in Lydia, similar in Malaysia, where they first thing they say to everybody is, "Oh my God, you're so skinny, well done." And so like always congratulating people about how skinny they are. Oh, so skinny, so skinny, and you're like, this not. And then they look at me and be like, "Whoa, do you eat a person?" You fat bastard.
In China, they've got no qualms about saying, "Shit, you've packed on a few pounds."
I remember, I was in Guangzhou or something, and I was going to Europe, and I was like, shit, I need a couple of shirts, and I was like, I'll buy one in transit when I'm over there, and then I went into an Asian, like, men's store in transit, and I was just like looking around, I was like, it's literally like a children's clothing store. And I just said to the lady, I was like, have you got anything bigger? And she just went, no, too fat.
She said too
She
fat.
said too fat.
Wow.
And I was just like, and she just said it in such a matter-of-fact way, like, not meant to be offensive, just trying to state a fact.
Jen, this is how it is.
You're just too fat.
Yeah.
And I just, and she said it like just kind of smiling in a way, and I was just like,
Thanks for your service. Yeah, no, I had that when I lived in China. I would go into shops and I'd be like, have you got... They were just like, no.
no. What do you think?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, did you think many people look like you? You gargantuan
We
freak.
make those clothes here, but we don't sell them here. Like, we make them in China, but we're not selling that size in China. That's for export only. But 33.70.
You're like good kiwi fruits. For export only.
That's right.
It's only a joke Kiwis will get.
So that was the Friday games. The Rebels were done with their loss, and the Highlanders were still.
You're
sitting
out. Go
in
on.
8th. Then the big one for mine, like looking at all the fixtures on that weekend, the Drua against the Reds, which was essentially a direct kind of potentially you could knock out the other one if you get a win. Like James O'Connor, I think going into that one described it as a final.
Yeah,
Because if whoever wins that game is guaranteed a spot in the 8th.
Yeah, right.
And the Drua were at home.
Yeah.
And they played pretty well.
Well, look,
My dad was like, I want the Reds to win because I want the Highlanders to make it. And I was like, no. Like, no.
Come
the
on.
Drua, the best thing about Super Rugby.
Yeah. Did they make the top 8 last year? No.
No.
So that's amazing. That's great.
I went and bought their jersey on the weekend.
High five. Well, yeah, it's great to see them win. And can I admit something to you?
You didn't watch it.
They started at 4:30. The Warriors started at 5. What am I going? What's the guy supposed to do?
The Warriors won as well. They beat the Dolphins.
Yes, they did. Get in, son.
Yeah.
Yes. I get so worked up watching them.
I know you
So
do.
much more than watching the Blues. I love the Blues. They're my team. I get very worked up watching the All Blacks. Did you see my highlights video that I put up about a year ago of me watching the South Africa game?
No.
It was called Highlights with a Low Light because I did a live stream.
Oh, yeah.
And then I just took all the highlights of me just losing my freaking rag.
With the All Blacks.
With the All Blacks. So it's got highlights with the low light.
Nice.
Distracted Sports.
Is it great viewing?
It's weird.
Okay. That goes without saying, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's definitely weird. So what was I saying before that? No, so
You didn't watch this game, but it was...
I didn't watch the game, but
know who won, obviously.
I know, but then I knew who won before the.
It was 41-17.
That's a good pumping.
Yeah, especially second
And,
half.
like,
Drew ran away with it.
17 all at halftime.
Yeah.
I watched a few of the tries, and
Yeah.
it looked like another one of those great
Crowd
Fiji.
loved it, man.
Yeah.
I love watching the crowd in Fiji.
And then the Reds get away with,
Well, the Reds escape because I mean the Reds,
but they've got their balls in their mouth. At this
despite
point.
they're waiting on the Force game to see if they're going to
You
make
know,
it.
every Reds fan back home is going, those effing Chiefs not sending them effing
Yeah,
players
that's right.
across.
Like 11 players changed up.
Gee, you
Yeah.
mother.
Yeah,
So
but I mean,
they-
the
and they'll be
Reds-
like, they won't even play hard.
I
They
looked
won't-
at their recent record. I think they've won one game in the last 5. Although that one win was against the Chiefs away,
Yeah,
so it's
by
a
the
pretty
way,
good win.
and with that drill win, obviously,
They make the 8.
and
They
Aaron-
move into 7th, and Aaron Smith is
Smith's-
done.
He's a super. What a super rugby career. I'm glad that just to dwell on the Highlanders and Aaron Smith, they won one championship.
They
under
did.
Jamie Joseph.
That's right.
That was a hell of a season.
Have you seen like his? The Sky Sports did like a
did.
piece, where he talked
Day in
about
the
how
life.
like he was like a hairdresser, and then he was playing for Manawatu,
Yeah.
and then he got a phone call from Jamie Joseph, and he
that's
was
what
like, "Come
also-
play with the Highlanders," and then he was like in like the Blues like wider training squad or something, and he was kind of umming and ahhing about it. And Jamie was
Yeah.
like, "Make a decision," and then he was like, he committed, and when he committed, he showed them some pretty good loyalty.
There's a
like-
bit of talk saying maybe you're a touch small for a modern halfback
Yeah, that's
these
right.
days, but just that guy's passing
It's
ability.
unbelievable.
I remember when he came through, and we had just been going through a period of like players like Justin Marshall and Jimmy Cowan and Andy
Piti
Ellis,
Wepu.
Piti Wepu, like good runners, like can pass, but then he's passing, from not to first 5, he's passing to centre.
That's right.
Like, and not and spanning the 25, 30 meters with a pass and
Yeah.
being like a rocket on a plate.
That's right.
And that's been the whole style of the All Black attack, is that quick ball to wherever you want it.
That's
and
right.
he's been a
He's
linchpin
been such a
of
key
that.
part of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. And
A lot of guys have come and gone in other positions during his time with the All
what
Blacks,
is he,
but he's been
116, 170
something like
something
that. It's insane.
Exceptional player. Exceptional player.
I loved it in
incredible
that
servant.
show. They showed him like getting to work, like at the Highlanders training facility, like an hour before everybody else,
Yeah.
just to pass.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I think it was Ricky Flutie or something. One of the other coaches
Yeah, just
would
comes
just
in-
get there early just to catch the ball.
He brings in a coffee for him, and
Yeah.
he just bounces the ball to him
Yep,
in weird
pass,
angles.
pass,
Yeah.
just for like an hour every day. Like that's the kind of insane commitment. Like Dan Carter doing his goal kicking at home when he was a kid,
Yeah.
and Johnny Wilkinson used to stay at training for hours afterwards until he could get all his kicks. Like
There's a
those are
reason-
really elite players. They just put in the time.
That's
Like
right.
they've got the talent, but they've also got
That's
that
why they're
determination.
exceptional.
That's right.
Talent's only going to get you so far.
Mm.
Talent plus effort equals whatever outcome you're going to get. Effort counts.
Great
Effort's
Super Rugby career, Aaron.
Yeah, man. What a dude. What an All Black. What an All Black. Is he going to go out with
With a
fairy
name?
tale with carrying old Bill back to New Zealand?
Probably not.
Probably not. But
Who knows? We've got a chance. We're the All Blacks.
we're the All Blacks,
We
man.
aren't. We aren't.
We're
but
the All. Well,
yeah.
we support the All
We
Blacks.
support the All Blacks.
We're
They're-
New
they're-
Zealanders.
They're always in with a chance.
We live in West Auckland.
That's right. That counts as New
we
Zealand.
drink beers in front of a TV. Yeah.
So the Drew will make the playoffs.
Woo!
The Reds are kind of in 8th, hoping that the
Yeah.
Force don't get a win.
Yeah.
And the Highlanders, like you say, are done. The next game was maybe my favourite game of the weekend, but didn't really matter in terms of the log. Like the Hurricanes hosting the Crusaders.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
like a genuine battle up the top. We've talked about how the battles up the top don't really matter at this point of the season.
But it was, but everything just to give context to people outside of New Zealand, and to be honest, I don't think this is going to be the biggest watch video
Probably
we've
not.
ever done. Just due to the fact that people who watch us are usually from Europe, and we're not. There's no European
Africa.
rugby. There's no rugby for them to be interested in right now. And
Hopefully they get behind some Super Rugby.
yeah, get involved.
Nothing else on.
Yeah,
There's nothing else.
yeah.
There's the MLR. The MLR's going as well.
Yeah, exactly. You can watch. Basically, it's like watching third grade schoolboy rugby.
San Diego have only lost one game. They're having a hell of a
Oh
season.
wow!
The Free Jacks have lost 2. Jacking away. Jacking away.
Anyway, what was I going to say? Okay, so
Hurricanes Crusaders.
So the-
Dane Cole's last game.
no, my point is, it used to be Auckland back in the day, but Canterbury, pardon me, the Crusaders have kind of turned themselves into the England of New Zealand in a way that not because England are dominant, but by the fact of whenever you play England, it's a big game because you want
wanna
to
beat them.
freaking stick them. That's how I feel everyone kind of approaches
The Crusaders.
the Crusaders now. Maybe the Blues to a lesser extent, but it's a big game when you're playing those big dogs who have won it 6 years in a row.
Interestingly, with last year's Super Rugby final between the Blues and the Crusaders, I was sure that a lot of neutrals would be like, I'd like to see the Blues get a win because the
No.
Crusaders win it every year. No. Everyone was like, I'd rather see the Crusaders win it for like
Yeah.
the freaking whatever time.
You suck.
Yeah, we hate Auckland. But that's all right.
We are Auckland. Yeah.
So, but you watched this one? Hurricanes
Yes, I did.
Crusaders?
And yeah, thoroughly enjoyable clash.
What a comeback.
It felt so much like I was like, Whaianuku scores early, and then they get
Yeah.
another try early, and I was like, I've seen this movie.
Crusaders
I've
went
seen
out
this
to a
movie
big old
before.
lead.
And I was like, hey, they might just get another one before halftime, one after halftime, and then pull off a dominant 25-point victory. And that was it. I was played it in my head. I was like, this is going to happen. So it was. I don't know.
I was also kind of half checked out.
I was
starting to
flicking
look
through my
at some other
phone.
things and what else is going on.
Exactly.
But no.
Tried it on with the missus, swung and missed. Uh,
Got a headache. You need to have a shave.
you didn't have a shave. You got to deal with those hemorrhoids first. Stuff like that. Just normal, Saturday night kind of stuff.
Kind of started with a wee bit of not quite handbags, but Dane Coles and Cody Taylor, the two
Lovely.
All Blacks hookers.
So what happened was someone was going over the ball but put their hands too far, and then it got penalised. It was the big prop, whatever his name is, giant fat fella. Giant big boy. Big unit, as you would call him. And then he came in and said, yeah, just gave him good slaps on the back, going, nice one, yes, and gave him the big G up.
Yeah.
And then Cody Taylor's like, you felt like there was 20 years of built up animosity of watching this dirty bugger being in teams with this dirty grub, just sort of feeling like, God, he pisses me off sometimes. He's my mate, but I hate him. And then he just comes up, shoves
up.
And then they're just sitting there just giving each other the most intense verbals, going, go on then.
Yeah.
I will f you up.
Yeah.
Go on then. It was great. And it was just that sort of mate, fisticuff sort of thing that you see from time to
Had enough of that
time.
shit. Yeah.
Just all the little comments, all the little grub
Yeah.
stuff he would have done over
Yeah.
the years. That's what I felt like it
lot
was
of
like.
needle.
All the needle.
Yeah.
And all Cody Taylor wanted to do
It was just punch him in the face.
just knock him the out.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
He didn't.
But the funny thing was, Dane Coles won.
Yeah.
Because, just a few plays later,
Cody Taylor.
Cody Taylor, who's not known for his niggle, he's a physical player. He's not gonna shy away from a physical encounter.
Yeah.
But with Steve going, I hate him. I hate him.
Yeah.
And what did he do?
He infringed the breakdown. He
some-
got his hands all over it. I think it was
Yeah,
off his feet or something.
Yeah. Oh, was it? It was something stupid. It was throwing the ball away. No, I can't.
They were on defense. I'm
But
pretty
then
sure. Yeah.
he gets sent
He gets yellow
10
carded,
minutes,
and
then
he
Dane
runs.
Coles is going, you gotta be smarter than that.
He gave him an absolute spray
It was
every
great.
step of the way.
There'll be some
And all
highs
Cody
of it.
Taylor could do was put a wry smile on his face because
Yeah,
he
yeah,
knew
it
he'd
was-
been bested. He'd
Yeah.
been rattled.
You've been rattled by the master. You can't out prick a massive prick.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yep. That was. I loved it also because you could hear Dane Coles drop an F-bomb on the ref's microphone as they were going at it. Brendan Pickrell standing there between them and are you done? Are you done? And the New Zealand commentators did not the UK commentators were like, oh, apologies if there's any offensive language
Yeah.
picked up on the camera there or picked on the microphone.
Yeah.
The New Zealand commentators didn't even mention it.
I like Nisbo, who was the comedy. I was like, that has gone way back. That's all the way back to Horror Whenua.
Yeah.
So both Horror Whenua boys.
Yeah.
So it was great, and it was funny. Dane Coles, who always does the sort of when he does some super needle, then someone reacts to him. He's always does that eat ass sort of what?
Yeah.
And then he's puts the hand out, and then Katie Taylor shakes his hand
Yeah. It was great.
Great stuff.
But that was
great
the kind
stuff.
of springboard for a Hurricanes comeback. They got themselves in front and they had the game won.
Roy Guard,
He kicked it out on the full.
but he scored a try.
Yeah, he did.
Savia made that lovely little break.
That offload,
And then the number 8 who got sent off earlier.
Oh, Yose, what a try.
Great try.
He
Just
burned Scotty Barrett on the side of that scrum. Unbelievable.
that guy's meant to be our number
Our
6.
backup number 6.
Well, a lot
Or
of people are
maybe the
saying-
number 6.
People are saying he's God's gift to Barrett.
down the blind side.
Yeah, we got absolutely gassed. Well, he had some nice pace.
He
Didn't
also
he?
he's quick, but
And he's a big unit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Powerful.
I mean, the Crusaders got a consolation to make it 27-26, but still, their game was lost.
Yeah.
So, well done, Hurricanes. Well done, Dane Coles. You get a win on your home ground.
Yeah, exactly. Last game,
You know, Adi Savia said in the post-match, like on-field interview,
The post-match or the post-match?
the post-match.
Okay, yeah.
He's a man of few words, Dane Coles. I was like, who, like, do you,
Who are you
like...
talking about? Do you know him?
I
Have
guess
you
because he's
met
on
him?
your team, you don't notice it? Like, you gotta be... Maybe he's just being sarcastic.
Maybe he was.
I don't know. But yeah.
So
So a good bit of momentum for the
I
Hurricanes going into
just
the playoffs.
love watching the Crusaders lose.
Yeah.
I really,
It was very
it's
satisfying.
so satisfying. It's just the best. Just the best.
They still finished second. The Hurricanes
Yes.
are in fifth. So an away game for their knockout stage.
Yeah, right.
The Waratahs played Moana Pacifica
Whoa!
in a game which literally had no implications for the table at all. The Waratahs are guaranteed to be playing the Blues no matter what the result.
I saw the first 5 and the last 5 minutes of this, and the first 5 minutes I saw Nakawakawasi score.
Na Wanita Wase, yeah.
Teach me again.
Na Wanita
Na
Wase.
Wanita Wasi.
I believe so.
Na Wanita Wasi. I saw him score, and I was like, no, this is gonna be one of those.
You know what? I didn't even tune into the first half.
Oh, really?
I was like, Moana Pacifica, I'm not watching those guys.
Yeah,
they keep
you
losing.
just. But the sad thing was they gave Michael Hooper this hero's welcome. There was a very satisfying thing and a very dissatisfying thing about this game because I think Michael Hooper is one of those guys. He's always played for teams I don't like, but I can't help but really respect him.
You can't help it.
He's always the guy on the field when everybody else is screwing the pooch. He's just like,
God's
how did I
sake.
find myself here?
Yep.
Can't I just play through the Crusaders or something?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like he's such high quality and always plays at such
level.
a high level.
That's right.
But has just had some very good players around him, but has had definitely inconsistent talent around him his entire Super Rugby career and also his Wallabies career. Was he there when they won the...
I think so.
That was back in...
Because he's been around for yonks.
That was
but
back
like
in 2011.
2013?
Was that 20... I thought it was 2011.
I don't think it was 2011.
Wasn't it the year of the quake?
I don't think so. But somebody
I think it
correct
was.
me if I'm
I think it
wrong.
was. I think it was.
I think it was 2013.
Can you Google it?
I'll Google it. You talk about the game then. You watched the first 5 and the last 5?
I watched the first 5 and the last 5, and I thought, well, I know what's going to happen here. This is. I've seen this movie before too.
Yeah.
And then the last 5, I turned it on, and the bloody freaking Moana Pacific had basically an unassailable lead.
2014.
And I was thinking, what? And then I saw the try with about 3 minutes to go from the Waratahs, and I was like, oh, they can't screw them. And I was still thinking, how are they going to screw the
muck it up.
page?
2 tries they needed.
And then they just managed to hold on.
Yeah.
Like nothing terribly dramatic happened for the last couple of minutes, and they got a long awaited victory in the very last game, game of the season. They almost got very, very close to getting a victory in the first game of the season against the.
They almost beat the
Drua.
Drua both times they played them.
They
home
almost
and
beat the
away.
Blues.
They almost beat the Blues. So they could have won 4 games.
And then they would have been
Which would have almost been a playoff contender. With the way Super Rugby works.
They would have been right in there with the Rebels.
That's right.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. But yeah, good for them. Well done. And the thing what was nice to see was I was like, because I haven't really followed too much of what's going on in the inner workings, although Sky's been trying to shove it down my throat. But they all spoke about Aaron Major really lovingly. And they were like, just watching him interact with the players, and they were all very, very affectionate towards him, and were saying we're trying to do it for coach, and how much he'd helped them, and how he
Which is
actually
bizarre
make them
because
grow.
that kind of paragon of New Zealand journalism, the New Zealand Herald, was reporting that there was disgruntlement in the ranks with the Moana Pacific players and the coach.
It's a very easy freaking story to make, isn't it?
I guess when a
team
team
loses
at
that
point
much,
with none from 14 or whatever it was.
Which
13.
is sometimes even winning teams hate their coach.
That's right. David Nusifora was not liked by the Brumbies when they were kind of champions. So, yeah, but it was great to see them get away.
The French team.
Oh, 2011.
Yeah,
they just stopped listening to her. I forget who the coach was.
He completely lost the thing, and then Dussetois was just like, you can, off.
Yeah, I'll do this. I've got this from here. But yeah, I didn't watch the first half.
I'm going to have to beep those. I was trying not to swear.
Yeah.
I did a couple.
Yeah, you did.
No, I'll beep
You can leave in the shits.
Shit!
But I also kind of like, it was like at 60 minutes, I just checked the score, and I saw the score, and I was like, oh, yep, that's about, what the hell? It's the other way around. So you Moana Pacific are winning. I watched the end of the game.
Last 20?
Yeah.
And was it a roller coaster? When did they get to that
No, because
point?
they had a pretty comfortable lead, and they scored again. I was like, wow, this is incredible. What a way to finish the season. Does that win
Poor old Michael Hooper,
kind of like erase all the the stink that's been around them for their poor home attendance.
Well, look, definitely would have erased a lot of that crap if they got those other 3 victories, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And
It would have been much worse for them if they'd gone winless, though, wouldn't they? Because that conversation about do they belong in Super Rugby has maybe been pushed
we've
back.
had it. We've
We
had
have,
it.
yeah.
We've had it. But yeah, I still think
Needs to be changes.
there do need to be some significant changes to just in terms of their relationship to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we should, by all means, if we can support and do anything we can, but basically it's the New Zealand Islanders.
Basically.
You know, it's
They're
not-
mostly born in New Zealand.
they're all Kiwis. Well,
For
not
the most
all,
part.
yeah,
Apart from
few
the
of
one guy born in Samoa.
yeah, they're all
Or
guys.
Aussies.
They're all guys who played
Few
in the
Aussies.
NPC, who good, very good players, but couldn't make any other teams. Because if they could make other teams, they would have taken contracts
They
with
probably would have.
the Canes Blues or
Yep.
even the
teams.
Highlanders.
Even the Highlanders. Even those bloody Highlanders.
You know what would be a great day for them when one of those Pacific players gets offered a contract to the Highlanders and they go,
Nah.
"Nah, I'm going to go with Moana Pacific."
Yeah.
that'll be their first coup.
But yeah, Hooper did score a try at the end. So Christian Leofano kind of said like, I feel sorry for him, but we wanted to get a win. So,
Yeah, that's right. And he also said, "Well, you got to try."
yeah, you got to try. It.
Yeah.
It makes up for it. Yeah, he scored a
Yeah.
cracking one. Did Christian
Yeah,
Leofano.
yeah. Had a little
Wound back the clock.
a little bit of jet shoes there,
Yeah,
wouldn't he?
yeah.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Yeah, but I think is your favourite memory of Michael Hooper?
Oh,
It's hard to pinpoint one. Mine is just his face of looking around like, what the?
yeah.
That's it.
Probably that. Remember I told you I went to Sydney to watch the Blues play the Waratahs?
Mm-hmm.
And I went with my rabid Waratahs Australia fan mate who lives in
Actually
Sydney.
had rabies?
Yeah, he actually has rabies. And you
Wow.
could tell from the way he was just yelling at them. He was like, $40 for this fucking shit. Yeah, because they were getting done. They did have a wee comeback. But and Michael Hooper, I think, was part of...
Is he a Warriors fan?
Probably.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds like a Warriors.
Yeah. But Hoops got around the boys to get a comeback. They didn't win, but they had a wee comeback.
Right,
so
yeah,
it was good to
yeah.
see him in the flesh.
Yeah, in the old flesh. Okay, let's do this then. Okay, your favourite memory, Dan Cole's memory. I'll tell you mine.
Go on then.
There was, would have been around about 2013, 2014. The Aussies had really beaten the pants off us in, I don't know, not Sydney. They never went in Sydney. It would have been in like Suncorp or something
Right.
like that. And they were coming back and they were like, this is when we're going to get it. They're going to get it. This is going to be the big moment. You know, this was back at the time we had Carter and McCaw and all that sort of thing. And what's the name? Gets a little, what happened? That's right. This is the try he scored. Carter gets the ball, takes it to the line, puts on a lovely little bit of footwork, steps a man, gives it to who else but Dane Coles. Dane Coles just puts on incredible pace for
He had a knack for that.
yeah, insane pace, stepped a man, and then did a massive palm off to, I think, Will Guinea at the end. And it was just wildly satisfying because they were talking it up all week, and it was the time we was like, this is what our hooker can do to you. Eat shit.
Nice.
You know, that was a wildly satisfying try. Yeah.
He scored one against the Blues right after Bodie had left the Canes to come
Oh,
to the
then
Blues.
he got him, man.
That was hilarious. That's
Yeah.
probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Because I think it was Bodie going for the tackle and Bodie didn't get it.
Yeah.
And then all the Hurricanes guys surrounded him and celebrated. That was at Eden Park.
There was a bit of a thing with that for a while. I don't
Yeah.
really like it too much, like the whole like grabbing a player.
No, but this is
Jumping.
mates. So I
Well,
think,
this is mate, but now it became a thing. It's like just if you've got an opposition player that you can bring into your
yeah,
huddle.
I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Bodie took it with a good spirit though. Didn't
Yeah,
he?
Bodie did. Because he played for those guys for like 10
Favorite
years.
Aaron Smith. Mine's a weird one.
Okay.
but- No,
You got it off the top of your head. I got to think about it.
Okay, mine weird. My weird one is obviously it's incredible moments. I keep thinking about that Japan, the try he scored against Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Like all those little nippy, fringy tries he scored. Like great. I think he's set up a few tries with his kicks. But for whatever reason, my favorite moment from him, he was barely involved, was that incredible try against France in the quarterfinal. Carter puts up a massive bomb. Ben Smith gets it, spins it out wide. There's a super quick ruck. Aaron Smith's available, then spins it out to Julian Savea. Julian Savea bumps off 3 Frenchmen in the most satisfying
That was a
style
great
at
try.
Wales. And then I just really remember Aaron Smith is just the ultimate encourager in so many moments where he was just standing next to him being like, yes, like right in his face. And I
Yeah.
heard him talk about it being like, you just have to, it's a highlight reel forever.
Yeah.
You're the guy who's getting bounced off. You're going to have to watch that every 4 years on repeat, like eat a dick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. That sticks in my mind
He's-
as well.
he's
The
great.
You
Yeah.
can always hear him. Like anytime there's scrum time,
Yeah.
you can always
Yes,
hear it going
boys.
like squeeze,
Yeah.
or whatever he's
I knew
saying.
he was riding them. Did you see he was doing the old freaking...
Nobody else
He
G's
was-
up their forwards quite like Aaron Smith.
Yeah, he was doing the old guitar thing. He was like,
Nice.
go. And just in the weekend past. You see that when there was a couple of tense scrum moments?
Yeah,
he was
he
like...
gets in there. He's not afraid to voice his
That's what you
opinion.
want out of your yappy halfback, isn't it?
Last game.
Yes.
Force Chiefs. Force win and go through to the knockout stages for the first time in their history against the changed Chiefs side with 11 guys rested.
I'm so angry at the Force. Like, I'm angry at the Force because they had me. I was like, okay, you guys are
Their
working
home
for this.
record was great.
You're going for this. And they played that great game against, was it the Rebels or who did they beat? Was it?
They lost to the Rebels away the week before.
Oh no,
they got
that's right.
smashed.
Who did they play the week before? They beat the Drua the week before.
That's right. They beat the Drew at home. They beat the Highlanders at home. Their home record was genuinely quite good.
And I was and I guess it's so far away from everybody
That's
else.
right.
They got to make it a
gotta
bit
make
of
it
a
a fortress,
fortress.
yeah.
And they've done all right, but they had 2 weeks to ice this. 2 weeks, and for some reason I was as much as Auckland it can be, I was somewhat on the bandwagon going, yep, let's get this done. Played like absolute dog's balls against the Rebels.
Oh, yes.
And then, they just the big thing for me was they were so deficient in defense. And that's all, obviously, 120 kilos, massive island man runs at me. I'm not going to be able to stop him. But I'm not a professional athlete who trains, a professional
Yeah,
rugby
you're
player.
not. No, he could have
I know
fooled me.
looks can be deceiving. But they were just running right through them. Just looked like they had no
answer.
no attitude to it,
Yep.
like no backbone,
It was
and that was
disappointing.
so limp,
You're
considering
really-
your season is on the line.
Yeah, you would expect that's the game where you're just going to be.
You just put your body on the line,
Exactly.
you
It's
just-
do or die. Like it's
Dig in, shoulder in, just go for it.
maybe they had one eye on the golf course.
You reckon?
I don't know. It just seemed weird that, like you said, they had 2 weeks to put it to bed. Away to the Rebels, you would have thought, because they went up in that game early, you would have thought, like, this is a team below you on the log. You're coming
Yeah.
in with great form. The Rebels have been a bit dog shit.
You should be able to get this across the line.
Yeah, exactly.
They only needed one win,
They
didn't
needed
they?
one win in the last 2 games. I mean, the Chiefs is a hard team, obviously,
Yeah,
but
top
with
of
the
the table.
changes and with the
11
travel,
top player, 11.
11 players changed. So, yeah. But Sean Stevenson, you asked me to write a note. Here's a note.
Well, he played well. He set up a couple of tries. Did he score one? He set up a great one early on.
Link to the field one. It's crazy.
Sean Stevenson may not be a rugby player. Rugby
Like
union.
NRL?
He may.
There's been talks about that before.
So
It's been linked with NRL clubs, and he's kind of said that's nice.
I watched the
nice to be
yeah, I
kind of
watched
thought
the-
of.
so the Dolphins came over. New NRL club, the Redcliffe Dolphins came over to play the New Zealand Warriors.
Any relation to the Miami Dolphins?
They both have the Dolphins as their mascot.
They both have orange.
It's more of a red for Redcliffe, believe it or not.
Oh, there we go.
Um,
Red Cliff is a place in China.
I don't think they're representing China though.
Okay.
I think they're
There was a
representing.
big battle there. The
They're representing
End of
it-
the
they're
Three Kingdoms
representing-
period.
Pretty much, it's
There's a movie called
it's like
Red Cliff, I think directed by John Woo.
I haven't seen it. I've never heard of it either, so it would have been hard for me to see it. Do you remember that Little Britain skit where the guy would walk into the video shop and be like, I would like to see a romantic comedy where an Asian man falls in love with 2 Polish twins. And they're like, what's it called? And they go, oh, it hasn't been made yet. And then they go, well, we can't rent that to you. And he's like, I'll wait. Do Dish.
I never watched Northern
yeah,
Britain.
yeah, that's quite good. Anyway, so Wayne Bennett. Do you know who Wayne Bennett is?
He's a rugby league coach. He coaches
He
the
is-
Dolphins. He used to coach the Broncos.
He used to coach Newcastle. He used to coach St. George, but he used to coach Canberra.
Okay.
He is the super coach. He's the winningest record in all of the NRL.
He likes to cut him his jib.
He's an incredible player, but he hates the media. He's basically if Clint Eastwood, Monty Burns, and Steve Hansen had a baby.
That'd be him.
That
But he likes
would
the
be-
cut of Sean Stevenson's jib.
Well, no, he didn't. Well, the thing was, in the press conference, his team had just lost.
Okay.
They said, so Sean Stevenson, we understand that he's closely linked to the team. You guys are looking to sign him, and he never gives anything away. He goes, well, yeah, he's a player. And then he said, and he was like, it's like, well, was there a chance to sign him? He was like, whatever happens, happens. Like, that's the way he answers. But that's him saying, basically,
Yes.
if you speak Wayne Bennett, is, yes, we've got Sean Stevenson.
Wow.
So that's like just from years of speaking
Reading
Wayne
between
Bennett.
the Wayne Bennett lines.
Yeah.
That'd be disappointing. But good
Yeah.
for you because you watch rugby league.
Well, I don't really want to see him play for the Dolphins. Like I like to.
Well, he doesn't want to play for the Warriors. Jesus.
I like to see him play for North Harbour, which is my team, and I'd also like to see him play for the All Blacks, another team I support. And there's no good reason why he shouldn't have been in the Blues either. But you know what? Great player who we don't talk about. Who I thought why don't we ever talk about him on the podcast? Because he never really puts a foot wrong. Doesn't get a huge amount of opportunities. Who do you think I'm going to talk about in the Blues team?
And the Blues team.
Yeah.
Anton Segner, the German.
Oh, he had a great game. I do like the cut of his jib.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah. He was he's hearty. He just needs to put a little bit more weight on.
Beef. He needs a bit of beef.
Yeah, he needs a bit more beef. But no, Zahn Sullivan. I do like.
He's got a big old boot.
What about his piece? Have you heard about that?
No.
Apparently, it's tiny.
Oh.
That's what the word on the street is. But no,
Okay.
what a player. Good looking player, isn't he? Yeah.
Young.
How young?
Is he young enough to be my child? He's in his early 20s. I suppose if I'd had kids young, probably.
I had a pregnancy scared when I was 16.
Ooh.
And that kid would be 24 now.
Goodness gracious me.
Holy moly.
Could be playing for the All Blacks.
Give me, get out there. Get out there.
Tony Jr.
Tony Jr. Would have been half Indian. Dude, first Indian All Black.
There you go.
Yeah.
Probably
I'm not
would've played
Indian.
for the
I'm not
cricket
Indian,
team.
by the way. He could have been.
We've had a few Indian
A lot of them.
guys
lot of
represent
them.
the Black Caps.
Deepak Patel.
Oh, I used to love Deepak.
Yeah, he coached my cricket team for
Really?
a while. Yeah, he's great. It was actually quite an angry dude, but he made you
Really?
play better. Like we were like 10 or 11.
Those
years-
guys at the elite level have to be kind of super competitive.
Yeah, but I remember we were like 10 or 11, and he like talked to us like we were like proper into it, and he was like, now with fielding, the thing about it is you can't be fucking scared. Just fucking catch the ball. And we're like,
Well, this is pretty full on.
and then he would, I'll beat that. And then we'd do fielding practice with every, like my dad would come along and it'd just be
That
like,
just makes you more scared.
yeah, no, but it was like, I better not screw this up. I've seen this guy on the TV. And like a dad would come along and just be like a little fielding practice, like a little dink, like just doing a lolly.
Deepak whacks it at
He
you.
was just like throwing up, just bang, just like at our shins and stuff,
Yeah.
and just really hitting it hard at us. And it was like,
That's
oh,
fine.
but he made us better.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Yeah. Can I tell you a story that says no relevance to rugby whatsoever?
Go on there.
So, for that year, one of those years, one of my mates, his name was Clive Bulpin, by far and away
Your best player on your team?
the best batsman on the team.
Okay.
By far and away the best batsman. Like, we all knew he was the best batsman. He was the guy who got consistent big runs. I would chip in, get the odd thing here and there, and often get out for ducks.
Right.
Quite a lot of them. But, and I had sneaky, a sneaky seamer, and just handy fielder was okay.
Yeah.
But then we had our big prize giving. They have a best all-rounder, best batsman, best bowler. Didn't get best all-rounder. Didn't get best bowler. And then I was sitting next to Clive, and we were on this like dais type of thing.
Yeah.
And where he actually said to me, I was like, I don't know how they're gonna put it on my neck because like I'm too tall. I was like, I don't know, man. They'll work it out. Because we were like, he's gonna win. And
You
they're
won.
like, the coach was like, yeah, it was like, and the award for best batsman, Anthony O'Sullivan. And I was next to him and he went, what the f***? It was the coach. I don't know. Mustn't have liked
paid
him.
attention.
Or mustn't have liked him.
Maybe.
Like, yeah. But it was weird.
Nice.
Yeah, anyway. That was very much a tangent. What were we talking about? Shooter Stevenson.
Shooter Stevenson going to the NRL, and the Chiefs winning 43-19 over the Force. So the Force are out again.
Force are gone, and you've only got yourself to blame, Force.
You had your chances, Force.
I'm not gonna cry for you.
Sad but true.
So
Setting
it up.
Friday. Blues, who finished third, against Waratahs, who finished sixth.
Blues first. Well, I think, look, if you could pick any team to play in the top 8 right now, you might pick the Waratahs, would you? Wouldn't you? Like, it's not like it's a very Blues thing to do to lose.
They should win that game.
They should win that game. The Waratahs have been dog meat for a long time. But what do you see is going to happen?
Oh, I think the Blues.
At home.
Even if we play badly, I think we should still scrape through. We've done it a few times this
I
season.
think
Our recent record is actually okay. Like the Highlanders game. We didn't play that well, but we still won.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Hopefully they're coming to it with a bit of a rocket up their ass, especially after a
That's right.
lackluster performance.
The Chiefs, who finished first, against the Reds, who finished 8th. The only team to beat the Chiefs this season is the Reds.
Which is nice.
But it was a much changed Chiefs team. They rested a lot of guys for that game, and it wasn't in Hamilton.
But hey, look, sport's a weird thing. And it can happen. The Warriors once bet when they qualified 8th for the top 8 when there was 16 teams, they bet the top qualified Melbourne in the first round. Last minute try to Michael Witt. So it can happen.
It's just not very likely.
Unlikely, especially with the form that the
Chiefs are in. They can send a B team, not B team, but like a change team to Perth and still win.
There were still some decent players out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Crusaders, who finished second, are playing the 7th place Drua. Crusaders at home.
I think cold Christchurch.
The Drua, their away record is kind of bad.
And like, if you want to get it to an environment,
Have the Drua won any away games apart from the Moana Pacific one? I don't think so.
If you want to get into an environment that could be more of the antithesis of a tropical paradise that is
It's
Fiji,
probably Christchurch
It's
in
probably
June.
It's full of angry white racists.
Christchurch does have a bit of reputation.
Yeah, it does. For shagging sheeps too.
And the last one is maybe the best looking in terms of the parity between the two sides. The 4th place Brumbies hosting the 5th place Hurricanes. And that's a repeat of last year's quarterfinal as well, where the Brumbies, I think, got it done by like 10 points.
Isn't that crap? They're the only game where you're like,
maybe that one. Yeah.
maybe that's going to be, because they're all set up to be lopsided dog piles.
Last year in Super Rugby, all of the quarterfinals were won by the home sides, and both of the semi-finals were won by the home sides. It was only the final where we saw an away win.
So we need to. I was trying to work out how the Blues get a home semi.
We need the Chiefs and the Crusaders to lose.
Or at least one of them to lose to get a home
semi.
semi.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we need to be the top-ranked side getting through to get the home final. So we need to kind of Stormers it.
Yeah, we do need to Stormers it. Well, if it could happen for them, it could happen for us.
Yeah, we just don't need like a Weber
Just
character
not very
saying we're going to
likely.
F them up.
That's true. Yeah. But it's interesting because that means there's no New Zealand on New Zealand teams and there's no Aussie on Aussie teams in the quarterfinals.
Is that right?
Yeah, you got New Zealand, Aussie, New Zealand, Aussie, New Zealand Pacific, and Australia, New Zealand. It's
Well,
great.
the New Zealand teams sort of dominate the upper half.
Would it be bad for Super Rugby if the Blues, Chiefs, Crusaders, and Hurricanes all win? You end up with 4 New Zealand teams in the semis, or would that be good for the competition?
No, it's bad. It's bad for the legitimacy of the competition. It's like, oh, great. So we just had a bunch of bollocks to get
4 New Zealand teams.
New Zealand Super Rugby Aotearoa,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a good result for the game or the competition. But the competition's probably been the most. Well, like we've been enjoying it because the quality on the ground,
on the pitch has genuinely been pretty good for most of the games. There's not been that many stinkers.
The format and the marketing has been just been awful.
Yeah,
honestly,
I don't think it's a Super Rugby ad. I think it's a Blues Eden Park ad. But they kept doing promo ads for me when I was watching like TVNZ on demand for the Blues Highlanders game, and the ad was just like a shot from last year's game where Mark Talia made a big run, and
we didn't even talk about Mark Talia
They
this
kind of had the commentary like on like half volume, whereas like Talia gets the ball, and they had like a bit of a hip hop beat going in the background.
Super Rugby.
And that's like Cups, Super Rugby, and I was like, this is a shit ad.
Yeah.
Like
Check it out.
I'm a Blues fan, and this doesn't make me like, oh, gotta go to that.
And you are not a league fan at
Not
all.
at all.
But every time I show you a league ad,
I'm invested in like,
you're
oh,
like,
what?
oh.
Yeah, I'm like, what happened? And you'll tell me like, oh, and I'll be like, oh man, that
you'll
was
be
a really
like,
good game
and
to
the
watch.
Rabbitohs got up.
Yeah,
Well, I'll
yeah.
tell you about the Rabbitohs and the Sydney rivalry.
There's a storyline there.
Yeah,
you give me the context, like you give me the story, and then like the match is almost
just fucking jack me off a little bit, work the shaft, cradle the ball, swallow the gravy, just get it going. You know.
Yeah, the marketing's not great.
It's been absolute balls.
Yeah.
And they need to have a massive look at themselves. Like they are a
They're
huge
still
part.
operating on the logic that
You
New
like
Zealanders like rugby, so come and see the rugby.
Yeah. And there's, I don't know, like the whole, and it's the same. There's a similar voice for the NRL ads made by Sky.
Right.
When they're like, NRL on Sky, check it out.
Right.
It's like
the
zero
sales and marketing
creativity.
team is like, right, that'll be $50,000 for that ad.
Exactly. But then or other than that, there's just 1,600 pieces about.
How would you do? Would you kind of like take the clips like from the previous years where there's been those kind of high intensity incidents?
Freaking go to the rawest, dirtiest, most emotive place. Do not be scared of it. Do not be scared of what gets human beings jacked up. It's entertainment. We don't have to take ourselves any more seriously than that. We're not trying to change the world. We're just trying to enjoy a group of massive men smashing the crap out of each other and putting on some amazing skill. But take me back to why these people hate each other. The massive moments, the huge comebacks, the moments where I was just like had to grab my balls and cover my mouth to make sure nothing came out of either end. You know, that's what I want.
Stuff's coming out of your balls. Something's probably pretty wrong.
It's true. I've got to get a doctor to see that.
Get that shit out.
But just make it primal.
Yeah.
It's primal. It's primal game.
Yeah.
Like they barely get into it. They barely get into the hatred between Auckland and the Blues. They're like, these two have a rich history.
Yeah, rich
Of
history.
what?
Yeah.
Of what? Like the I Hate Auckland Club. Like, tell me about how much they hated Carlos Spencer. Like, tell us why Justin Marshall was such a prick. You know, like, show us that. You know, show us the fact that most of the Crusaders team are from the Manawatu and Pukekohe, and get us pissed off about it.
Yeah.
You like, make us watch. Get them angry about the fact we're talking about that.
Yeah.
Like, get us angry.
There's some
I'm
storylines.
angry.
There's definitely some storylines, but they don't use them.
No, because they're just sanctimonious crap. It's just
High horse.
it's just nonsense. What are your thoughts? You saw me absolutely go off.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier with my dad, like there's certainly a market which likes it kind of just keep it straight down
narrow,
the middle.
yeah.
And I can see that, but then also you look at the interactions with boots on the ground in terms of like the amount of people who are going to stadiums, like the amount of people watching on TV. And the amount, because Sky was on the record the other day saying like that they were happy with the numbers of the viewers.
Yeah, right. And that's all they care about.
Yeah,
obviously.
and the like YouTube highlights numbers, like I've mentioned it multiple times, are fantastic. Like they blitz every other competition. So there's a lot of people who will watch it on TV and who'll kind of loosely keep an eye on it. But you want it to be more engaged than that. It's an easier product to sell when it's.
I was talking to my brother, and my brother is probably the guy who got me into rugby. As much as my dad did. Like, he was 5 years older than me and was just obsessed with rugby. And, like, I remember being, like, I remember being in 1987, him just telling me how incredible Michael Jones was.
Right.
You know, and him just being amazed with this godlike character called Michael Jones. And from there, I was absolutely invested. And he was like, I saw him the other day, and he was like, I haven't watched rugby this year. Like, I just don't care. It's like, I watch the Warriors.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's just boring. I'm like, what? And I was like, the product's not actually that boring. The games aren't boring. But he's just not, he's
Not
just checked
invested.
out.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So,
That's
like,
what we're lacking.
Yeah.
It's gone from being like that kind of must-watch
Point
weekly
mentality.
event to be like,
Point
I'll put it on the background while I have dinner.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but you want those people on the fringes.
For sure.
But that can't be your core.
No.
You know,
the core needs to be the hardcore fans, and then that brings in more people.
Yeah.
People look at the crowd and go, like, you look at the
That
crowd.
looks like a good time.
Like, I look at that crowd in Fiji and go, shit, I'd like to take it. Like, I would consider taking a trip to Fiji, like, take the family, go do a holiday, but just quietly catch a drill game while I'm there. Like, that would be like an incentive to kind of two birds, one stone thing.
100%.
You know what I mean? Because you want to be part of that.
Yeah, 100%.
Whereas you look at Eden Park and you go, I don't need to buy a ticket beforehand because
exactly.
I'll be able to rock on up and get one.
I think I'd rather just sneak in one day when it's completely empty because it would be a very similar sort of feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Oh, well.
95 days until the Rugby World Cup. 95 days.
Great. I'm writing a piece right now.
You're always writing a piece.
I'm still writing the same piece. I've written half of it.
Okay.
It's about why Ireland will definitely not win the World Cup and why they definitely will win the World Cup. So
Got a bit of an angle going on there.
yeah, a bit of Jekyll and
Kurt
Hyde.
angle.
Jekyll and you just give me a wrestling reference. Did that just come to you?
I don't know where my brain goes,
There's
man.
a bit of a right angle, freaking Pythagoras theorem going on there. So I'm gonna write it for the big teams, in like two part. They're not 2-part videos. They're videos with 2 parts.
Right.
Where the first half is why your team will definitely lose, and
Why they're going to win.
why
That
they're
could be
gonna-
interesting.
But my fear is that people will only watch like the first few minutes where I'm bagging the crap out
And
of
then
their
just
team.
the angry comments come flooding
Yeah,
in.
exactly. Watch the second half. Watch the second half. So I've written the first half. I've been really bagging on Ireland, but now I'm running a half where they definitely will win.
Nice.
So that's
95 days, though. It's not that long.
well, yeah.
Time will fly by. We've still got the Rugby
I'll
Championship.
probably make
before
one
then.
video in that time.
Yeah.
on my
We've still
channel.
got Super Rugby to finish off, and we've still got the MLR to finish off, obviously.
Rugby Championship. Looking
Rugby
forward to that. Look,
Championship,
I'm
big time.
still excited about it.
Yeah. The Springboks, last time I checked, had just finished their training camp, and then they're having a
they
wee
get
rest.
they get a little head.
They're having a 10-day off period, and then they're going to be back into camp.
Weber
I
got
think.
into the squad, didn't he?
Believe so. Yes.
Well,
He's a big unit.
yeah, but he's a big idiot.
Rugby players are not necessarily picked for their intelligence.
Well, I think they've got to be at that level, and it's something they've got to make really, really high. Like every ruck they go into, they're making 3 or 4 decisions. Like they can't be that a whole notion of just knuckle dragging idiots. Like I think that is a bit of a thing of the past. Like they do have to have a bit of smarts about them. They do have to be able to regulate their emotions. And he is.
He's lacking a wee bit.
He's totally lacking. He's lacking so badly that he is not international quality.
They've got
That's
Malcolm
my
Marks and Bongi and Bonambi, so he'll
Which
be
are-
firmly
yeah.
the number 3 choice. Fingers
Ish.
crossed, Bongi and Malcolm are fit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry about the
That's
banging.
Joseph Dweber banging on the door. He's livid.
He's absolutely pissed.
He's gonna
We
fuck
didn't-
you up.
Oh man, I've been doing so well for the first 35 minutes of this.
No,
and then-
sorry about that.
It's okay. It's my fault. 'Cause I let the floodgates open.
That's right. Make sure you get them all.
Yeah, I will. But you've got a new video coming out very, very shortly. Will it be?
Thursday, I believe?
Can you get it up quicker?
I try to do them fortnightly.
Like on a regular schedule?
I will try to do it on a regular
You
schedule.
are a professional.
I'm talking about my second channel, for those of you
2
who've stuck
cents
through it.
on tour.
Yes.
It's
2 videos up so far. Second one is just quietly ticking along relatively well. Better than Super Rugby is.
Exactly. We were all really surprised.
Yep.
But no, it's a great video. It's a great watch. Watch him get invited to some
Stranger's house.
lovely Chinese woman's house.
Yes.
It's good.
After going to church, of all places.
Catholic
church.
When one comes out, one of the things we do after this, I sit down and I tell Mark why.
Critique.
I tell him why it's shit. And then I say, but there are some good bits about it. But they weren't shit, by the way. It
It's
weren't shit at all.
constructive criticism,
It
which
is.
is always, you got to be open
You
to
will,
a bit
but
of
you don't.
constructive
In this
criticism.
game that we play, you get very little peer-to-peer feedback. don't
You either get comments saying, "Oh, that was a nice video. I'm pleased you did that," or "You're a fucking dick."
But to actually have someone to sit down and actually give it some thought, it's probably you'd want someone better to give you some thought. But hey,
Beggars can't be choosers.
they can't be. You did right there. You did it right there. But hey, look, I feel like we made another podcast. And,
We did.
When's
When's your Ireland video coming out? Approximately.
Should I give myself a hard date?
Go on then. So I've got my China video coming up this Thursday.
Just so slow. Life gets in the way. I was actually hoping to have it out really soon. I was hoping to have it this week, but I don't think it will be.
So we'll both do them on Thursday then.
No, I won't do mine on Thursday.
Okay, so I'll do mine on Thursday. You'll do yours on Friday.
I'll probably do mine on 3 Thursdays away.
When my next video comes out.
Yeah, I'll try and beat you for your next
Which
video.
will be where I try and check out the Steel Museum.
Oh.
And check out the 14th tallest building in the world. The Greenland Tower Center.
The steel building. I felt like you got a hard on that one, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Big time Callan Doris. Steel.
Some hard steel.
All right, so this is a podcast. You can listen to this podcast where, Mark?
Spotify.
Yeah, Stitcher.
Google Podcasts.
iHeartRadio.
Apple Podcasts.
And wherever else you get your podcasts. We do really appreciate you watching. And people do write nice comments.
Lovely.
They do. Like, people writing, like, I get sad when this finishes. And I was like...
Yeah, or people, like, commenting things like, oh, I wish you'd talked about this. Like, that's cool feedback to have as well. We like that.
Exactly.
Like, someone was saying, like, you didn't talk about Sergio Parise the other day. And I was like, to be honest, like... I didn't watch that much European rugby prior to Cents Rugby.
Yeah.
And Sergio Parise in his prime, like of all the European rugby I was watching, I wasn't going, I'm going to watch me some Italy.
Yeah.
So I probably missed much of the prime of his career. I know he was a phenomenal player, like stupid skill set. Like the fact that he would always get involved in those kind of World Player of the Year conversations playing for Italy spoke to kind of the player.
So it was like the player, anytime the All Blacks played them, was like, that guy's irritating.
Yeah,
he's good.
There wasn't many players you'd be like, oh, that guy used to play NPC for whoever.
Yeah.
There'd be a few Kiwis who'd been playing their trade, and then Parise, I've heard of him.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Yeah, quality. Well, yeah, it's going to be tough for us to talk about stuff like that, but maybe we can.
But that kind of feedback's good. We like that.
It is. Anything you'd like to see. We don't take guests on the channel, anything like that.
Really. Hamish is supposed to be coming up to Auckland.
Where are we going to put him?
I don't know. You don't even have. You have to buy another microphone.
That's true. We'll put him on the Yeti.
Yep.
We'll put him on the Yeti and chuck him over there, and then we'll put a camera back on him. But I also said that he could potentially just like sit here and pose as the 2C Jetty.
There you go.
There it is. All right, Mike. Well, look at that.
Super Rugby.
Well, it's big time now.
Playoffs.
Top 8 will become the top 4. And then it'll become exciting.
Please don't be the 4 New Zealand teams. Give us one upset and don't let it be the Hurricanes over the Brumbies. I mean, will there even be an upset? I don't know. Give us one away win.
As long as it's not the Waratahs.
Yeah, true. Preferably the Drua. We'd love to see the Drua.
Love to see the Drua.
I love you, Crusaders, but you've had enough trophies.
Oh my God, I'd love to see them get knocked out by the Drua. I would adore that. That'd be a thing of grey beauty. All right, good work.
Cheers, pal.
All right, ha-de-da.
Take care, folks.